President Trump gets a huge win from the Supreme Court, and Democrats are losing their minds. Also, the president shares in an interview that his economic team is right now laying out plans to see if they can do a $1,000 to $2,000 tariff rebate check to the American people. A Democrat running for attorney general says Republicans need to dial back the violent rhetoric, yet he has leaked text messages saying he wants to unalive the man he's running against and his family. I'll also share several big FBI updates. Thank you guys so much for liking and sharing these videos. Let's jump right in. President Trump has formally declared a non-international arms conflict against drug cartels, which are now labeled terrorist groups. This marks a major escalation in America's fight against drug trafficking. The announcement came after Pentagon's strike on a fourth drug boat, allegedly smuggling drugs towards the United States. The administration argues these actions are legal under self-defense and armed conflict rules, pointing to ongoing cartel attacks against the United States. But the official notice to Congress didn't name a specific cartel. Therefore, drug makers, specifically Democrat lawmakers, are fighting on behalf of these drug traffickers. Blah, blah. Sorry about that. Now, critics also note that no public evidence has been shared showing drugs on the targeted boats. Democrats say President Trump needs congressional approval before any future military action, and some warn that this could strain relationships with countries like Venezuela, where these boats are originating from. But I don't know that that is a major problem for President Trump or the FBI or the Drug Enforcement Administration. Now, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, they weighed in on this. Dan Bongino said, "We are tearing apart the international drug trade, infecting our communities piece by piece, tendril by tendril." FBI Director Kash Patel said, "Maduro isn't just corrupt. He's an indicted narco-terrorist dictator with a $50 million Department of Justice bounty on his head. Under my leadership, the FBI is choking off every dollar, every account, and every enabler." This came out from Fox News. FBI busts alleged Maduro-linked money laundering network spanning multiple nations. So they're on to what Venezuela is doing, not only in the trafficking of drugs, but in the voting systems and the elections down in Venezuela. More will be coming out about that. But speaking of Venezuela, President Trump was handed a huge win. In a landmark 6-3 decision, the U.S. Supreme Court sided with President Trump and his administration, granting him an emergency stay on the revocation of temporary protected status for over 300,000 Venezuelan migrants. So here is what is going on with this particular case. So the Supreme Court on Friday found President Donald Trump's administration was right to strip legal protection from more than 300,000 Venezuelan migrants. The Justice Department issued an emergency order. So essentially, this reverses the Biden-era extension that was set to expire in 2026. This gives President Trump and his government permission to immediately deport 300,000 Venezuelan migrants who were here. Some of them connected to the Tren de Aragua situation, and they're now going to be fighting to remove those people and get them out of our country. So many of them were here, they were working within the country, and now they are about to be removed. So this is huge. All right, going back to FBI Director Kash Patel, Democrats say that he is becoming too political. At the end of last month, he was brought into Congress where he testified. He had open arguments with many Democrat leaders. Well, now he has gone on to Twitter. FBI Director Kash Patel calls MSNBC an ass clown factory of disinformation. So he said MSNBC is an ass clown factory of disinformation. Same circus animals that slobbered all over perp walks of Roger Stone, Peter Navarro, and Steve Bannon. MSNBC has no facts and no audience. In this FBI, following the chain of command or get relieved. So this comes from somebody saying, wait a minute, why wasn't former FBI Director James Comey perp walked and arrested? When are we going to see more people perp walked and arrested? MSNBC then said that Trump is getting revenge, that all of these people are innocent. Kash Patel says, no, no, no. There are open and active investigations against these people. So this is why he's calling them an ass clown of disinformation. So they're now saying the FBI director is becoming too political and name calling. All right. Now, on the economic front, President Trump is considering giving Americans between $1,000 to $2,000 as a tariff rebate check because of the record high amount of tariff revenue he has brought into the country. He calls it a dividend for the American public. The U.S. has already collected $215 billion in tariffs and could collect as much as $300 billion before the end of the calendar year, with Trump predicting revenue of up to $1 trillion annually. While his main priority is to pay down the national debt, President Trump says tariff rebate checks are possible because of strong collections. But his plan faces legal uncertainty, and the Supreme Court is going to be reviewing whether he, as the chief executive for the United States of America, has the authority and power to collect these tariffs at all. If it is struck down, those checks will go away, paying down the national debt will go away, and the United States could owe upwards of $1 trillion in refunds, in which case then Congress would have to vote against keeping that revenue and further hurting the U.S. economy. Now, let me know in the comments, would you like a tariff rebate check of $1,000 to $2,000? Or would you rather a president finally start chopping down the national debt? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, Jay Jones, the Democrat running for Attorney General in the great state of Virginia, has been constantly calling for Republicans and Republicans only to tone down the violent rhetoric. Well, now he's had some of his personal text messages leaked where he openly talked about killing his opponent, his family, and children. Here's the story. Stephen Miller of the White House said, "This is how dangerously radicalized the Democrat Party has become. This is who they are installing as the judges, prosecutors, and attorney generals who sit in judgment over you. They will not hesitate to hurt you while freeing the most violent monsters." So here are screenshots of some of the texts that Democrat nominee, Virginia Attorney General Jay Jones sent, threatening the former House GOP Speaker. So the story is Democrat Attorney General nominee Jay Jones fantasized about shooting former Virginia GOP House Speaker. Here's the situation. I'm going to show you these text messages. I'll just go ahead and read them. The blue is somebody texting with him. The gray is Jay Jones, the Democrat running for Attorney General. They say nice things about everyone. LOL. If those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals to piss on their graves. Send them out awash in something. Jay Jones, 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives those bullets every time. Jay, please stop. LOL. Okay. It really bothers me when you talk about hurting people or wishing death upon them. You weren't simply asking questions and you know it. I genuinely was, says Jay Jones. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. There isn't. I've point blank asked you more often 3 times. You dug into, you meant it. I honestly am questioning lots today. Jay Jones says, I've told you, I think Jennifer, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil? And yes, they are breeding little fashion.
Hi, I'm Jay Jones, Democrat running for Attorney General of Virginia, and we're going to talk about public safety. As the son of prosecutors and the father of 2 young boys, I've always believed that keeping our communities safe is the most important responsibility of any Virginia leader.
All right. Well, then why, oh, why are you calling for your opponent family members to take 2 to the head? This is really disturbing. Now, almost every Republican is calling for him to drop out of the race. Several Democrats are saying, we can't save you from this one, buddy. You've literally called for your opponent to be taken out. You've made disgusting reference to being shot. Now, this is the current Attorney General, and her name is Winsome Earl Sears. She is now running for governor of Virginia to replace Glenn Youngkin, who would make a great president down the road. Listen to what she had to say about this disgusting situation.
It's gone too far. You can't call a woman who looks like me racist and then dial back the rhetoric. You can't do what Jay Jones did, text about killing a Republican politician and his kids, and then dial back the rhetoric. You can't pretend they, them is a pronoun and then wonder how people lose touch with reality. And you can't normalize radical policies and prejudices that lead people to kill those they disagree with. Folks, you can't hear Abigail Spanberger on video say, let your rage fuel you, and think that's leadership. Is that what we want? Is this what we want our politics to be? Rage? Of course not. It's time to bring back common sense and common decency. And as a Marine, you have my word. That's what I'll do as governor of our great Commonwealth of Virginia.
Okay, let me know in the comments, should this Jay Jones drop out? I mean, can you imagine if President Trump had text messages leaked about 2 in the head to anybody? I mean, this is really, really disgusting. Like, this is the guy who was supposed to think about the safety of every citizen in Virginia, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, Green Party, Peace Party. It doesn't matter. This is pretty vile. I don't know if this guy comes back from this, but let me know your thoughts down below. In law enforcement news, FBI Director Kash Patel has ended the Bureau's long-standing partnership with the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. This comes after controversy over the ADL's glossary of extremism, which critics said unfairly labels conservative groups. The ADL quickly dropped the glossary, but not before updating its file on Turning Point USA. The ADL had marked Turning Point as a racist hate group. The ADL was originally set up to defend Jewish people, but then labeled Turning Point as a racist hate group without evidence or cause. The file mentioned ties controversial figures, even though Kirk strongly opposed white supremacy. Patel accused the FBI under former director James Comey of being too cozy with the ADL and using them to attack political enemies. Patel is also making sweeping changes inside the FBI. He recently fired a trainee for displaying a pride flag on their desk, saying it was poor judgment and inappropriate political signage. The trainee, a decorated FBI veteran who once led diversity programs, was training at Quantico. Sources say such display wasn't against the rules. Patel terminated him, as well as over a dozen FBI employees who knelt during the 2020 George Floyd protests. Kash Patel says this is what he was put into, to clean up the organization and bring it back to just solving crimes. All right, in international news, the U.S.-Ukraine situation, a new report reveals the FBI received 3 informant files alleging corruption of the Biden family and the Ukrainian energy company Burisma, but no one at the FBI investigated the files. Now, Senator Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson are saying it's time for these to be investigated. The files claim that Joe and Hunter Biden had ties to Burisma's linked shell company, Latvia, and that Joe Biden allegedly met with Ukraine's president at the time, Petro Poroshenko, in order to shield Hunter Biden's businesses. These claims resemble the 2023 allegations from informant Alexander Smirnov, who later admitted he had lied and pled guilty to tax evasion and false statements. FBI Director Kash Patel testified, as far as he knows, no one at the Bureau ever investigated the connection between Biden and Burisma. A whistleblower says the FBI and the DOJ obstructed these investigations, so now we'll see whether anything comes of that. All right, Apple on their app has taken down the app ICE Block, which was tracking ICE immigration investigations around the country. The Justice Department pushed to have this removed after a sniper used the information about ICE agents to attack a Dallas ICE facility. ICE Block worked like Waze or Google Traffic, which allowed them to use real-time data from ICE agents in order to show the public where they were doing raids. Its creator, Joshua Aaron, blasted Apple, saying that they had caved to authoritarian pressure and promised to fight back. As of right now, the Department of Justice has blocked Apple from using this snitch app to reveal where ICE agents are performing their duties. On the international stage, Russian President Vladimir Putin condemned the assassination of Charlie Kirk, calling it a disgusting atrocity. Speaking at Russia's Vladi Forum, President Putin expressed sympathy and said the killing shows America's deep division. He also dismissed Trump's description of Russia as a paper dragon or a paper tiger, pointing to the fact that the Russian Federation Army continues to plow forward, taking back parts of Ukraine. All right, that's my update for today. If you could, give this video a like, hit that subscribe button. Now, I just did the most incredible interview with a mortician where we went through all of the details of what would have happened after Charlie Kirk passed away, how they would use forensic science, the autopsy, x-rays in order to find the bullet, and plot with certainty how Charlie Kirk died, the angle of the shooter, the type of bullet, all of that. I'm going to link that at the end of this. Thank you guys so much for being allowing me to be your source of truth and news. Several of you pointed out that other YouTubers are now using my videos about Charlie Kirk as the most accurate videos of what's going on. I just want to say thank you guys. I always do my very best to bring you guys the truth. And if I'm wrong about something, I will definitely correct it. But as of right now, what I've been putting out about Charlie Kirk is seems to be some of the very best information. So thank you guys for sharing that with me. All right, have a great rest of your weekend. I love you. Stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.